Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site, and today we're here with Jim Long. He is the president and CEO of Genesus Genetics. So thanks for being with us today, Jim.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
Thanks. Let's talk a little bit about the pork industry in the United States. Let's start there, and then we'll have a global overview.
Okay, very good. In the U.S. right today, it's a terrible economic situation for producers. There's been losses of $40, $50 a head for the last while. And the part of the challenge with that is we had COVID, which we had low prices, and then we've had a spike of feed prices that have increased costs of production. And then, so really what's happened over the last 3 years, it hasn't been very good. And then now we get this compounded by these low prices right now. And when you look at the U.S., a reflection of how bad it is the amount of liquidation ongoing of the sow herd. From what we can add up as a genetic company, and we pay attention to this, there's probably a minimum of 300,000 sows already earmarked being liquidated now in process. And if you want to add Canada and Mexico on that, you could probably add another 100,000. And if the prices don't start improving soon, we'll have more liquidation because the losses continue. Now, in a bizarre way, I see some optimism with it because some of the dynamics going on in the rest of the world. I mean, Europe has got the highest prices in history, and part of the reason was they liquidated 1 million sows. Yeah. So, go figure, you have less pigs, the price goes up. So the price of pigs today is double in Europe than what it was at the low. And it's gone from a industry was losing a lot of money to making money, which is good. And that's what we're going to see here. The next piece is Asia, which is primarily China. You know, half the pigs in the world are in China. And you got, exports to China are down from the rest of the world. But the truth is, it's still the biggest importing country in the world. Now, we do business as a company in China. And what we're seeing is losses right today of $50 to $70 a head U.S., and there's ongoing liquidation. And you can go back to look at the dynamics there. They started liquidating in July 2021. The market went down for a year. The price rebounded through from late summer into the fall. Then they broke with the COVID, where they opened everything up and everybody got sick, so nobody was eating pork.
Right.
And then they got hit again by African swine fever, which when they get African swine fever in China, they just send everything to slaughter. So actually what it does is puts more tonnage on the market, which drives down the price. But what happens, there's no more pork coming after it.
Right.
And the question will be, is when does that stop, okay?
Right.
And when it stops, we're gonna see a huge jump in price, like we saw in 2019. And they're gonna need more pork, and that's gonna pull the rest of the world's prices up. Right. It's not a question in my mind of if, it's just when. And so it's a terrible situation here in North America, but there's room for optimism. The prices have recovered a little bit lately. Supply appears that slaughter pig numbers are coming down relative a year ago, especially when you look at the weights. Weights of pigs are almost 5 pounds lower than a year ago, which reflects a very current industry. So I guess we'll see. I think the price will get over $1 a pound U.S. yet this summer, maybe even higher yet because of demand.
Let's talk a little bit about the dynamics that have driven this U.S. market into pain and trouble.
Well, it's very interesting because we have the price is significantly lower than last year, and we have the same amount of pork supply.
Right.
So you kind of look at from a why. And I'm not too sure anybody really understands it. Now, one of the things is the retail price went up last summer, and then the retail price never went down.
Right.
So the retailers are making really good margin in pork.
Yeah.
So, and then exports have been a little slow. But then you look at the other side, you look at the U.S. wholesale beef price, it's almost 4 times the price of pork.
Right.
So you would think as let's say a relatively complementary product,
right,
that if we hear about the economy so bad, why wouldn't people eat more pork?
Right.
Because obviously the price of beef is high because people are prepared to pay for it.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's kind of befuddling. I mean, there's other people that kind of look at the markets like me, and nobody really understands. Okay, it's real, but you can't really rationalize it. So in my mind, that's part of why it can recover
Right.
quickly. The retail price is high, so that the price can go up within the retail chain and not affect the retailer a whole lot.
Right. When I read your commentary, Jim, and I do almost every week, but you talk a lot about creating pork that is more flavorful and that the consumer really wants to buy. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's it's something that we really believe in. For the last 20 years, U.S. per capita pork consumption is basically flatlined, and that's at the same time total per capita meat consumption's gone up. So really, as an industry, we've lost market share. So why? We think we made pork. This is a company, Genesis. Like, we're a genetic company. We believe the industry has made pork too lean and destroyed the flavor of loins and hams, which is almost 50% of the carcass. And consumers, if you do any surveys, the number one driver for purchasing is taste.
Right.
Number two is taste. Number three is taste. It's all about taste. So we believe we need to produce pork that tastes better.
Right.
When you go, and as a company, we're producing pork that tastes better. I see our loins at some places are bringing $2 over more than others.
Yeah.
Okay, why? Because people will pay for a better eating experience. But the thing is, it's got to be consistent predictability.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a brand, you got to deliver it every time. And we've worked hard for the last 25 years to do that. We're probably think different than everybody else, but we think as an industry, we need to push to a total better eating experience for all consumers. We don't believe taste should be a niche. We think every consumer who has pork should have the opportunity to have a good eating experience. Not just, sometimes here in North America, we sort off the good loins for Japan.
Right.
We know what do they sort off? The higher marbling, darker meat. Why? Because it tastes better. Why does a Japanese consumer is more valued than an American consumer? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like, what other industry would say, well, we're going to sort this for this customer base and not for this?
Yeah.
Like, we already know the answer, that our product isn't as good as it should be, and we need to change it. One of the reasons, if we had better tasting product, probably our prices would be better.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be losing as much money as an industry. It's kind of, part of this is survival,
Right.
and the direction we're going to go in the future.
Very good. Well, thanks a lot for all your time today, Jim.
My pleasure.
All right,
Thank you.
have a great World Pork Expo.
We will. Thank you.
This is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site.
Thank you.